welcome Paul Casey into the interview room here at the Valspar Championship, our two-time champion, 2018 and 2019, and our defending champion. Paul, it probably feels like forever ago since you won here, but if we can get your comments on being back finally.
John, it does feel like forever. Technically, did that mean I retained it last year? I didn't lose it, did I? So I've still got it.
You did not lose it. You are our defending champion.
Yeah, John, it feels like an extraordinary amount of time. Last year was surreal. I was disappointed, obviously, not to be here, but I felt so bad for Tracy West, the Copperheads, Valspar, being the first event to be cancelled right after the Players. Was just, she probably took the hardest hit of anybody, having done maximum preparation, ready to go, and then had the rug pulled out from under her. It was a weird thing. So I'm excited to be finally back, and I'm sure everybody else is too. This has always been a great event. It's one that obviously I've won back to back, and I'm looking for a third, and I feel like my game is good. But this is, really one of the best tournaments on tour. It's a great golf course, great people, everything about it. So it's exciting that we're finally here. I'm going for a three-peat. I've never had a three-peat as a professional. So, and I feel like the pressure's not on me. We got Justin Thomas and guys like that playing this week, and the focus is going to be on them. So again, I feel like I'm kind of in a sweet spot and raring to go. I've lost Johnny. You on mute, Johnny?
I know not the finish you wanted at the Heritage, but you just mentioned that the state of your game is good. So just elaborate on that a little bit for us, please.
Yeah, the year's been really good. I mean, I won in Dubai on the European Tour. I had a bunch of top tens to start the 2021 calendar year. Off well on the PGA Tour. And Hilton Head, I missed the cut at Hilton Head, but if you look at my results, I have never played that golf course well for whatever reason. I keep going back every few years to try and change that record, but it is what it is. There's a lot of things I still did very well that week, and if anything, it's a nice sort of reset to sort of look at the game, see what I need to work on. I feel very happy with the game. There's nothing I'm worried about. We're trying to peak every single week. This week's very important for me, but I've got a lot of great golf left ahead of me, great championships I want to try and win. So I feel good. I'm still incredibly motivated, still working as hard as I was right now, as I was at the beginning of the year, sorry. So yeah, ignore the blip a couple of weeks ago. It is what it is.
All right, well, we appreciate that. We will open it up to questions, and we will go from Paul Casey to Phil Casey for our first question.
Good afternoon, Mr. Casey.
Hello, Mr. Casey.
Just a quick question, first of all, on the what is it about your game that suits this course, or vice versa? Why do you play so well here?
I think, or I feel, this is, look, you've always got to do a lot of things well. Drive it well, chip and putt well to win tournaments, etc., etc. But there's a premium here on sort of medium to long irons into greens. This isn't the longest golf course. We hit, quite often guys hit irons, and you're forced to hit irons off some of the tees. Guys hit irons off things like 2 and 3. But the par 3s are long, and those approaches into the second shots into a lot of those par 4s are requiring 175 to 200 plus shots in, and I've always been very, very good in that area. So, a lot of spin control, the trajectory of those shots that I hit, without question, it's when I say ball striker's course, that's it can mean anything. It can mean driving, it can mean wedges, but in this particular instance, this golf course is a kind of 175 to 200 plus golf course. That's where the premium is, and that's what I do well.
And just a quick follow-up, if I may. I think that there's been 8 instances of a player winning 3 times in a row.
Tiger.
Yeah, that's good. I think Tiger's got 6 of the 8. Steve Stricker's, I know, has got 1. I can't think off the top of my head who the other one is. But Just what would it mean to do that, to win it at the same event 3 times in a row?
I hadn't thought about it, Phil. It would just be extremely cool, flat out. I think even more so with a gap as well, with a 1-year sort of hiatus. Yeah, it would just be very cool. I have done it, but in amateur golf. 3 Pac-10s, it's now Pac-12s, but 3 Pac-10s. It's elite company, and you know, there's a lot of. I've been in the game long enough, but there's numerous things that I still want to win and wish I had won, and et cetera, et cetera. So just to add something to the fabric of everything would be very, very cool. I'll tell you on Sunday how it feels.
Excellent. Good luck this week. Thanks.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, we'll go to Doug Ferguson from the Associated Press.
Geez, I was hoping to go last, John. Sorry, Paul. I had a quick question about the Player Impact Program. Do you think you are among the top 10? And if not, what will it take for you to get there? And are you envious of those who are?
It's a lot of questions, Doug.
It's one question. It's just a lot of words.
I don't spend too much time, Doug, thinking whether I'm in that top 10 or not. I don't think I am. What would it take? Playing great golf. I think it would take me winning probably a couple of times this year to garner the level of media attention, social media hits, column inches, that kind of stuff to get me into that top 10. Am I envious? Worry about playing good golf, Doug, and having, getting my kids to football practice on time. It's not going to change my life. So, I don't know. Not sure I've answered that for you.
Are you better at playing golf or getting your kids to practice on time?
Yeah. I've never missed a tee time, but I tell you what, I'm not very good at turning up on time when taking them to practice and stuff like that. It is what it is.
And lastly, on this golf course, because I haven't actually been on the grounds yet, is there much difference turf-wise or anything else from going mid-March to the end of April, early May? What have you seen?
Yeah, I'm still learning a little bit this week. Johnny was late arriving. That's a whole long.
Late for football practice.
Johnny's late for football practice. Yeah, that's a whole long story which we might get into this week. Depends if he wants to talk about it, but he's all good and everything. No, he doesn't have COVID. I've yet to see the back nine, so look, it's a little later. I think it's a little softer. Yes, and what does that mean? I actually think that means it's probably a little easier. It's a little bit more receptive than it used to be, or usually is, just based on the timings. There's got to be a little bit more water on the golf course, so it should just affect scores just slightly, in the fact it'll be just slightly easier, maybe 3, 4, 5 shots easier.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Bob Herrick from ESPN.
Very good. Hey, Paul. Thanks for the time. Just curious, where do you stand on the vaccine policy the tour's put in place, and the ability to forego testing down the road here once people are vaccinated? Are you good with what they're doing there, or is there another way? And what do you sense is the vibe among your peers?
It's interesting. I just walked through a room a minute ago where Phil Marburger was talking to a bunch of players about the vaccine. I think microchips might have been mentioned in that conversation. I'm not sure. I have been, for the record, I have been vaccinated. It hasn't been 14 days since my second shot, so this week I still had to be tested. But in another few days, then I will be out of that testing requirement and able to just get my lanyard and then cruise onto the property. Yeah, I've not. Look, I was happy to plow on and get the vaccine. In fact, my wife volunteered her time in Arizona so she could get it early, or as early as possible. And Arizona was quite speedy in opening up the vaccine with the governor there, Governor Ducey, to get it to as many people as possible. So hence, I noticed like the UK have just opened up to 44 and older. I'm 43, so if I was in the UK right now, I wouldn't even have the opportunity to get it. So I'm happy with it. I'm somebody who's, I believe in vaccines, although I've still got my nice Porsche masks that I wear everywhere. As much as I love them, I will be happy with the day when that disappears as well. So what's my answer to this? I'm sure there's costs involved with this. I'd like to know how much the PGA Tour has spent on their whole COVID program. I'm sure the costs are not small. How much does it cost to have a lab out every single week? But then you've got to weigh that off with keeping everybody safe. And I don't know those trade-offs, and that's not my pay grade. So I can't really answer that for you. All I can tell you is, I don't know. I know what I feel, and I don't know what the general consensus is on the tour in terms of guys wanting to get vaccinated, guys who don't, conspiracy theories. I don't know. All I know is that I think, like a lot of people out there, like the general public, we're kind of getting to the point we just want to crack on with things and get back to normal. So
We just had 4 players this week test positive. All were in New Orleans last week. I mean, it's still a thing, obviously. But if they had been fully vaccinated, obviously there's been timing issues with this, the schedule, the getting eligible. But in theory, they wouldn't have to be tested. There's this evidence that suggests they won't even transmit it. Isn't that the way forward? I mean, for not only for you guys, but for everybody.
I think so. I mean, how else are you going to get out of a pandemic? I mean, either you need everybody to have had it, which again, my understanding, what I read at the beginning, and you don't know what's right or wrong, but my reading at the beginning was that, we're not going to get rid of this thing straight away. It was let's mask up, let's distance so that we don't overwhelm our health services. And but we have no way of killing this thing. So when like Shackelford's writing this morning and kind of almost calling out those guys who have had COVID, I think that's out of order. A lot of guys still don't know how, the guys who have had it, and I've had friends who have had it, I've not had it, but guys who have had it, who are my friends, they don't know how they got it, genuinely don't know how they got it, and have been adhering to protocols. So I'm disappointed that Jeff would do that. Touch wood, they didn't pass it on to anybody else and didn't affect anybody else, and it seems like we've not had anybody on tour who's been seriously adversely affected. I know there's a couple of media personnel who have, people in the media who have dealt with it badly or had an adverse effect. But yeah, I mean, look, I would try to preach as much as I can. I don't want to get up on a soapbox and kind of scream it, but we all want to get through this, and how else are we going to get through it unless everybody's had it and got antibodies or we get vaccinated? So I'm still worried about international travel coming up. I got to go play Porsche in a few weeks, and then the Open Championship. And I want to go on holiday with my mates. I usually go to Italy, and that's not going to happen again for another year. So it's like, I'm sick of it, and I'm willing to do the things that are necessary to get through it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, let's go to Adam Schupak from Golf Week.
Hey, Paul, what do you remember from you mentioned three-peating at the Pac-12s? What was that week like? What was the experience like? Pressure.
I'm gutted, first of all, because Arizona just won the Pac-12s yesterday and beat my Arizona State, which is not cool. What do I remember? Golly, I just walked past Joel Kreibel yesterday, and I beat Joel Kreibel by in one of those at the Broadmoor. Joel Kreibel was leading by 8 going into the final round, and he shot 70, and I shot 60 and beat him by 2, and I don't think he's ever forgiven me. So I just saw Joel Kreibel yesterday. I'd never done anything like. I'd won back-to-back English amateur titles, but I'd never won anything 3 in a row. So, and there was talk about it back then. You know, having won one and then won the second one, and then talking about the third. I remember a little bit like now. I wasn't really that nervous. There was a level of expectation, but it was overwhelmed by actually. I felt like there was no pressure because nobody is expecting me to do it, which is a little bit the same case this week. You know, I had fewer guys to beat back then than I do on a PGA Tour, but. And then when I did pull it off, it was just the coolest feeling ever, because that it always is when you play college golf and you got your teammates. And Pac-10s back then was 6 guys playing, counting 5, I think. So we had a bigger number of guys on the team. It was good stuff. It's funny how those college memories, and we got a Walker Cup coming up in like a week's time. Those amateur days, you actually think you can't wait to get through it, and turn pro and get out here, and you kind of think it's not that important, but the amateur stuff is so important. You realize once you get out and tour, and so I hope I've got another one of those cool memories.
Which of the 3 in a row that you won did you shoot the 60 to beat Crockett?
I've got to look that up.
Okay.
Can you guys look that up?
Yeah, come on.
Somebody's going to look it up. That's terrible, isn't it? Because one of them was at ASU. No, regionals are ASU. It's been too long. It's been like 20-something years. They're going to find it.
What's your fondest memory from each of your 2 wins here at Valspar?
I honestly think that the tap-in in 2019 from literally a few inches. 2018, obviously there was Tiger and there was Patrick Reed and stuff like that, but because I'd finished 45 minutes an hour before the leaders, it wasn't. It was exciting for me, but it didn't have that climax to it. 2019, playing with DJ, world number 1. I think I might have been 1 ahead teeing off.
Did you win your freshman year?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was your sophomore year, so the second of 3.
Second of 3 was the 60.
Yeah, this was in 1999.
Yeah, at Broadmoor.
Yeah.
Where were the other ones? Can you find out?
Oh, now you're right.
So 2019 with DJ, everybody favored him, but I was incredibly relaxed and confident. I played great golf, and it was the poor drive on 18 up in the right into the face of the bunker, the great 9-iron out of it, and a treacherous 15, 16, 17-foot putt, which I could have putted off the green, and I didn't. That was the most satisfying feeling. Halfway through, knowing that ball was the perfect weight, and it didn't drop in, which didn't matter, but I've actually rarely had a nice little tap in to win a tournament by 1 in all my victories around the world. So that was yeah. And my other 2 victories on the PGA Tour were not that way. It was the playoff in Houston, and then obviously the Valspar the year before that. So that's just a cool feeling. We're still looking at Pac-12s.
This course, you say obviously suits you really well. Should this course suit Dustin Johnson really well?
Yeah. Yes. He does everything brilliantly. But as I said to Phil Casey, I think I've said this is a ball striker's golf course, but it's a medium to long iron ball striker's golf course. There's no question Dustin can, blast it over some of the bunkers down here. There's a bunker on 1 that he can clear. There's a bunker on 3, 4, 5 that he can clear. But then there's holes which are incredibly narrow, like 11. I mean, it's one of the narrowest tee shots on tour, and I doubt there'll be many people who hit the fairway 4 times in a row. To be honest, you hit the fairway there 50% of the time, you're doing pretty well. So, and even Dustin might do that, but there's a chance he won't. hit it 4 days in a row, but he's got great iron play and long iron play. So that's why he's going to do well. I mean, look, he was final group with me in 2019. So, you know, he's got all the assets. I mean, I think he's been, without question, the best player in the world for 2-3 years. You know, when he's on song, yeah, I've always thought Rory in full flow is an amazing thing to watch, but Dustin's been so dialed in with his golf game that, yeah. I mean, what golf course doesn't suit Dustin Johnson?
Thank you.
1998
All right, thanks,
is
Adam.
the country club.
Time for a couple more.
Hey.
Let's go to Tom D'Angelo from the Palm Beach Post.
We'll get in a minute.
Hey, Paul. Paul, just going back to the player impact program, I just wonder what your thoughts are, because there's been a little bit of a mixed reaction, because some say the players who are the most highly compensated will benefit the most, but others say that, well, they deserve it because these are the guys that are driving most of the fan interest and sponsorship interest. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel for number 11. Yeah, and number 12 and number 13. I mean, look, everybody, you guys know it. You want me to say something. Everybody brings value, plain and simple. That value is varied, but everybody brings value. Is this the best way of compensating guys? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, look, we're always trying to put, you know, the tour's job is lots of things, but one of those things is to you know, build the purses and obviously the amount of money that we play for. That's one of the things they do. That's the commissioner's kind of, that's why he's there, amongst other things. How to distribute those riches? Yeah. It's probably not the way I would have played it. I'm not sure what else to say.
And any suggestions how you might think you might have played it?
Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas, but that wasn't it. Yeah, and I sit on the pack, so I hear all these ideas and get to discuss them and vote on them and move them up to the next level where they get eventually decided on. What would I have done? There's a lot of ideas that I would have probably implemented, and I'm not going to say them here because that's unfair.
Fair, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Mary Faelo with the Tampa Bay Times.
Hi, Paul. Good morning.
Morning.
Was wondering, just obviously you have special memories here, and that's no secret. But coming back to Innisbrook, and I mean, you just mentioned obviously the impact it had on Tracy West last year, and just everything that she went through, everything that everyone around the course went through last year. What were kind of the thoughts and emotions getting back here this weekend or this week, and just being back here for the first time since your last championship here?
I can see the excitement in everybody, and it kind of brings home how hard everybody works, you know, in every aspect of what goes into a tournament, and how much that would have hurt last year when they got the news that it wasn't going to happen. There would have been, look, a lot of people lost. I mean, it would have cost a lot of money to pull the plug. The most significant impact is obviously charities locally, and you know, within the state. That's who suffers the most. So you can see it in kind of people's faces and eyes, and all the Tracy and the team and the interns who are working and the copperheads. There's this excitement, but also kind of sense of relief to kind of finally have their championship. You know, it's, you know, as players, I think most guys that we're kind of back in the hamster wheel. We're kind of going again, and you know, sometimes tournaments sort of just blend into one another, and you're out there trying to do your thing. A lot of guys are focusing on their golf game and trying to win or trying to play well. I think I see this one a little bit more because I've been involved with it through the last few years, media days and talking to Tracy a lot. So I kind of see behind the curtain a little bit this week, and I can see that relief and excitement. There's a whole bunch of emotions that are going on, which kind of just adds the fuel to sort of my fire to play well for them this week and try to do 3 in a row.
Absolutely. And then I know you were just talking about how well Dustin Johnson's playing. I was curious, just how does this field compare to years past for you? I know it's going to be very competitive this year, but I wasn't sure where it kind of stands with you.
To be honest, I can't remember the quality of fields in 2018 and 19, and I tend not to look. I don't get out the list and look down there and see who's playing. Look, as soon as you see like Dustin and JT and guys like that, you're like, you know it's going to be tough. But then it's been, you know, Tiger was here 18, Dustin was here in 19. It's always been tough. So, you know, I try and take care of myself. And to be honest, it's what you want as a player. You want to have as good a field as you possibly can and go up against those guys. And you know, when it's all said and done, the times you do win and you've been playing against those guys and the world number 1 was in the field, or when I won Houston, I think we had 8 of the top 10 in the world were there that week, and that's pretty cool to be able to say that. So I want the field, you guys want the field to be as good as it can be. I want the field to be as good as it can be. It's more world ranking points for me if I play well, and that prestige or cachet of beating the best guys.
Thank you.
All right, Paul, we appreciate your time. Best of luck as you go for win number 3 here at the Valspar.
Thanks, Johnny. Did we get Pac-12 dates? We didn't, did we?
No, I haven't.
We'll get them. Thanks, guys.